At this point, I've played over 100 hours of Elden Ring. But if you know anything about From Software and their games, then you know that the story and the lore aren't that obvious even after hundreds of hours of playing the game. So now it's time for me to sit down, take some time to learn the lore, pick up parts of the story I missed, and watch the story trailers. Guess what? We have a special guest. Give it up for Iron Fist Alexander. He's ready. So if Vati gets anything wrong, Alexander is gonna be like, actually, so I was there for that. Everyone always says try finger butthole. No one's ever saying why finger butthole. We're here to learn why.
Our story doesn't begin in the lands between. It begins in the cosmos, far away, with an outer god called the Greater Will.
Isn't that the same as Bloodborne? Isn't the outer god in Bloodborne also the Greater Will? We're doomed. There's some speculation. Okay, so maybe this is connected to Bloodborne. I see. The old ones, yes. The Ronnie ending is related to Bloodborne. Okay. Wait, she created moon presence. Okay.
There are a lot of outer gods mentioned in Elden Ring. You can think of these kind of like the great ones of Bloodborne.
What did I say? Vati, I'm in your head. Vati, I'm in your mind. I'm in your computer.
They're distant beings. They're all-powerful and they're quite unknowable by design. But many of these outer gods want to make their presence felt in the world. The Greater Will, maybe most of all. To this end, it sent a golden star hurtling towards the lands between. The Elden Star's incantation tells us that this golden star was bearing a beast.
A fallen star beast.
An Elden beast.
Oh.
The Elden Remembrance calls it a vassal beast of the Greater Will. If you didn't know, a vassal is someone who holds land on behalf of their overlord.
The Elden Beast was a colonizer? The aliens sent the Elden Beast to colonize the lands between. What? Oh, they were terraforming it as well. Consider the Scarlet Rot. I'm always considering the Scarlet Rot.
The Elden Ring itself is made up of runes of power, some great, some small, that together represent a sort of logic for the world to follow.
So the way I understand the Elden Ring is that the Elden Ring is basically the pantheon of all the gods and demigods. Because if you're a cool demigod or if you're a cool god, then you have a great rune. And the Elden Ring is the culmination of all the great runes put together.
The Elden Ring represents order. The true nature of this order is a subject of constant debate and research undergone by fundamentalists. But two of the key fundamentals are the laws of causality and regression. You can think of the law of causality as cause and effect, where actions have consequences, and those consequences are new causes that branch out into infinity. These are the relationships between things.
So it's like everything, kind of. It is nature. Everything is the Elden Ring.
Of regression that states that all things eternally yearn to converge and return to their roots. Fittingly, then, the Elden Ring is housed within the Erd Tree, which towers over the lands between. But it's very important to stress that life in the lands between did not begin with the Erd Tree.
Ooh, and the Hullig Tree. I hope he talks about the Hullig Tree.
But how could all life be blended together in the Erd Tree if the Erd Tree appeared after life existed? Well, there can only be one answer, right? That the Erd Tree is a parasite. And it took over a tree that existed here before. This ancient tree was called the Great Tree.
Great name for it.
Enemies related to the Great Tree's crucible would eventually be looked down upon. For example, the knot talisman is fashioned from a knotted vestige of the crucible, and it was considered a signifier of the divine in ancient times, but is now increasingly disdained as an impurity as civilization has advanced. Enemies related to the crucible are the Omen, the Misbegotten, and the Crucible Knights, and all three of them would be shunned, enslaved, or imprisoned. Those who speak for the Erd Tree don't want you to know its roots.
So that kind of explains why the Leonin Misbegotten and the Crucible Knight are in a double boss together. Kind of. Because they're kind of sort of related to the Crucible. But why were they at Redmane Castle?
In the beginning, everything was in opposition to the Erd Tree, but through countless victories in war, it became the embodiment of order.
In Marika's own words, the Erd Tree governs all. The choice is thine. Become one with the order, or divest thyself of it. to wallow at the fringes, a powerless upstart.
So, this is crazy. So the Elden Ring is low-key shitty because basically the aliens send down the Elden Beast. The Elden Beast cultivates the lands between, and the Elden Ring invokes this order on everything in the lands between, and you can either adhere to the order or get fucked. So the Elden Ring is kind of an asshole. So that's why when you become the Elden Lord, it's actually not awesome. You actually usher in an age that's not super great. They call it the Age of Fracture. You're not even really fixing anything. You're just continuing the golden order, but you don't have the power to enforce it. All endings have their downsides. That's one of the things I really like about Miyazaki's games, is that there's no, like, even the good ending, once you learn, the good ending is not necessarily the good ending. How many endings are there in Elden Ring? I know about the Age of Fracture, which is the normal one where you become the Elden Lord, and I know about Ronnie. I don't know what happens in Ronnie's ending, but I know Ronnie, she makes the moon presents. There's 6 unique endings? Wow.
This end, it has the two fingers, who are its envoys. The two fingers heirloom has a weird picture of them, but it reads, of course...
Dude, he looks crazy. He looks like a romper. And they got the little butt crack men worshiping him.
The two fingers clearly have more than just influence. They have real power on some level. The Greater Will needs these powerful envoys and agents because, while it's obviously incredibly powerful, it does seem limited by a few things. First is space. The Greater Will didn't come to the lands between itself, it sent an Elden Beast to do its bidding instead. Second is time. There is a moment later in the game where your pair of two fingers go still because they're forced to commune with the Greater Will for guidance.
That's so funny. They're like, boss, oh shit, he's burned the tree. What do we do? Guys, I think he's gonna kill the Elden Beast. We did not prepare for this.
They are finished. The fingers will again offer their guidance. But thousands, if not tens of thousands, of moons must first pass. No matter for me. But you, how will you ever manage to wait?
So the Greater Will needs a physical manifestation of order. It needs envoys to convey its will, but what it also needs is a god. Introducing Marika the Eternal. I have this utterly enormous mind map of Elden Ring's lore, and there's a reason she's at the center.
Oh my god, Vati! This is all just Marika? Vati! Okay, I'm understanding why all the lore videos are either 9 hours, 13 hours, 10 hours. Look at this! Vati, are we okay? This is everything. Marika is just at the center of it all. And she continues to be the center in the DLC as well, because that's about her, it's about her homeland. And kind of why she did what she did.
She's essentially the equivalent of Gwyn from Dark Souls.
She's Gwyn!
Except, unlike Gwyn, Marika didn't just crawl out of the dark and find power. To an extent, it seems like she earned it. We don't know much about her origins, except that she is of the Numen race, which is actually an origin that you can choose in the character selection screen. Numen come from outside the lands between, and are supposed descendants of denizens of another world.
The realm of shadow!
As an Imperial, Marika received the aid of a shadow to do her bidding. So what is a shadow? Well, it's a wolf, shadowbound to its Empyrean by the two fingers. Lunar Princess Rani is another example of an Empyrean with a shadowbound beast.
Blythe!
You've met Blythe. These creatures are the Empyrean's very own shadow. They are completely loyal to their needs and, by definition, incapable of treachery. Marika's shadow was a beast called Malakath. Every Empyrean uses their shadow in different ways, but Marika's sole need of her shadow was as a vessel to lock away destined death. So what is destined death? Well, according to Enya, It's the Rune of Death. We mentioned earlier that the Elden Ring is made up of runes, and at some point, maybe when she was chosen as a god, Marika plucked the Rune of Death from the Elden Ring. She gave the Rune of Death to Malekith, her totally loyal shadow, who bore a black blade imbued with this rune.
And honestly, if you're gonna give someone something to protect, it's this dude. This guy is crazy. Just a demon. I would have made the same choice. This guy is a freak. On the court and off.
It's kind of genius, really. In a single act, she removed the concept of death from the lands between, while also commanding total control of death through her shadow, who could deliver it at her whim.
So that's why the Tarnished can respawn, because she removed death from the lands between. Hi, Gooby. Gooby would also remove death from the lands between.
Now, some of you might be asking, if death is removed from the lands between, how come I can kill this dog? First off, shame on you. Second,
yeah, why would they do
from
that?
A point of view,
what the fuck? Why would he do that? Even to film it, why would he do that? Vati, surely it was not worth it.
that dog isn't really dead. It's simply in the process of its spirit, or its soul, returning to the Erd tree.
Oh, okay, so that's what the Dung Eater wants to remove. He wants to remove you going back to the tree. He wants to defile everyone so that they actually die and that they don't go back to the tree. Lion King style. When we die, we become the grass, and the antelope eat the grass, and then we eat the antelope. Dung Eater's tearing the whole system down. Yeah. Wait, is he gonna explain Piss Free?
Kill a major boss, you receive a remembrance of them. These are spirits, and they are hewn into the Erd tree. In this way, thanks to the Erd tree's grace, their spirits are immortalized, in a sense.
So we're fighting their spirits, and then earning their spirits. And then when we use the runes, they go back to the Erd tree. But what if I turn them into an axe, a la Godric?
This new form of death also explains what's happening when you summon spirits.
From ash and return to the Erd tree.
So no true death now exists in the lands between, and it's all just a recycling system. Everyone's souls are just being recycled either into spirits that you can summon in battle or otherwise. Miyazaki does love cycles, including the minstrel.
We had wars to fight, as the world was occupied by many forces that could threaten her golden order. There was war with the Storm Lord, who likely ruled over Stormvale, and there was a war with the Giants, who were masters of a flame that could burn the Erd tree.
And the Fire Giant was the last remaining giant. Dude, so many wars. They had so much beef. America was just left and right, taking them all out. Okay, so Placidusax used the time rocks to send himself back in time so that Marika couldn't kill him. He was hiding after his fight from Bale, not from Marika. I see. Ancient dragons can manipulate time, like the one from Dark Souls 3.
Marika herself needed someone to wage war, so there was to be a husband,
Absolutely.
a consort, an Elden Lord.
What else is a husband for?
The man chosen was Horalu, a ferocious warrior who became known as the Lord of the Battlefield. His crown was warranted with strength, and while it was for this strength that Marika married him, he was also required to take a vow to conduct himself as a lord, to suppress the ceaseless lust for battle that raged within.
And that's why he had Sarosh. So Sarosh kept his godly war god aura at bay by being Sarosh, and that's why he kills him and goes to second phase, because he lets his dog out, his inner dog. It's kind of like when you go over to your significant other's parents' house, you gotta keep it down, you know what I mean? You can't be WWE wrestler at the family Thanksgiving. You gotta put a lid on it.
In this moment, he went from being Horalu, warrior, to Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, consort to Queen Marika, and a certified demigod. Godfrey and Marika had 3 demigod children together. Godwyn the Golden, who you saw being killed in the opening trailer, and there were also the reviled Omen twins, Morgoth, who guards the Erd tree, and Mohg, who became Lord of Blood. You might think that Godric was another demigod child, but he actually wasn't. Instead, he was probably descended from Godwyn. Anyway, we'll talk about the demigods more.
He kind of looks like Godwyn. That was a Mohg moment. Dude, I didn't realize that Mohg has miquella in his picture. He's got him right there.
Just know that Godfrey and his offspring were the first demigods, henceforth known as the Golden Lineage. In his wars, Godfrey led his 16 Crucible Knights into battle, who were named so for they fought with the primordial powers of the Erd Tree. Their incantations were aspects of the Crucible itself, and they likely fought giants, dragons, the Stormlord, and more to usher in their age.
The Stormlord.
Age of the Erd Tree.
In Marika's own words,
Nameless King.
hark, brave warriors. Hark, my lord Godfrey. We commend your deeds. Guidance hath delivered ye through each ordeal to the place ye stand. Put the giants to the sword and confine the flame atop the mount. Let a new epoch begin, an epoch glistening with life.
So they had to get rid of the giants because the giants had the fire to be able to burn the Erd Tree. That's why they had to get rid of the giants and cage the fire to protect the Erd Tree. I'm understanding. The pieces are coming together.
Here, the House of the Moon repelled their offensives time and time again. And I mean that literally, because there was not just one, but 2 wars fought here. And in both of these, there was no victory for the Golden, nor for the Moon. And I suspect it was probably because of these lobsters.
Yeah, those lobsters are fucked. They are fucked, for sure. I didn't know that the Carrion Knights didn't fuck with Langdale.
These damn things
Yeah, fuck
can
the
snipe you
lobsters.
from like a mile away, and it's bullshit. Actually, it was probably because of the Carrion Knights, who, according to their weapons, were able to wield sorcerous battle skills, and despite
Originally, oh, okay, so that's why Marika turned into Radagon to then woo over R'hllana and then get the Carrion Knights on her side. The Carrions descended from astrologers who were buddies with the fire giants. So that, wait, okay, dude, Marika's crazy. She's really just weaving this intricate political and also genocidal map of taking over the whole lands between. She said, if you're gonna do multiple wars with my guys and you're just really gonna be a pain in my ass, I'll just freaking turn into a guy and marry you myself. Don't fight a war with me! I'll freaking marry your ass!
these enchanted knights were anointed by the Lunar Queen, a young astrologer who went on to establish the House of Caria as royalty in this land, with her bewitching lunar magic.
This guy just getting fucked up for the B-roll. Look
She
at him.
won over
Oh
the
my
Academy
god,
of
twice
Caria,
for the
where
B-roll.
Glintstone
3
sorcery
times for the
studied,
B-roll.
And
A 4th!
united. The Carian royal family and the learned scholars of Raya Lucaria defended their home from the
A 5th!
golden aggressors. At the head
A
of
6th.
this great golden army was Radagon.
Lord Radagon was a great champion.
I love this guy.
Possessed of flowing red locks. He came to these lands at the head of a great golden host. When he met Lady R'hllana in battle,
Oh, their eyes locked from across the room. And she was like, okay, shit. I see you destroying my armies and like, I was kind of doing something to me.
You might think it strange that the Greater Will would permit this union, but it's not too odd, all things considered.
Marika pitching it. No, you don't understand. I have to turn into a really hot guy and I have to marry this beautiful woman. You don't get it. It's for the plot. Stay with me, Greater Will. Stay with me. This is really necessary. It's all gonna work out for us. I need to be a hot guy. You don't get it.
It follows that at some point after this, Marika began to harbor doubts. It's at this point that we should talk about Marika's motivations, her character. This is surely going to be one of those huge points of debate in the coming years, but for now, my working theory is that she wanted to discover the truth behind order and the truth behind the Greater Will.
And to do so, she needed to be a really hot guy. She needed it to happen. Come on, Greater Will, you don't get it. And the crack needs to be showing just a little bit in the boss fight. Just a little bit.
Someone stole a fragment of the Rune of Death from Malekith, the Black Blade.
Ronnie stole a fragment of the Rune of Death?
As mentioned previously, Malekith was Marika's shadow, and he had sealed destined death in a black blade. Then a fragment, only a fragment, of this Rune of Death was stolen.
How?
And once this happened, Malekith went a step further in protecting destined death. He bound the blade within his own flesh, such that none might rob death ever
I understand.
again. It was too late, however. This fragment of the Rune of Death was...
That explains his cutscene, okay? He's whipping out destined death to then shit all over you. But also, it's kind of fucked up. Ronnie canonically made this shit harder for me.
Used immediately, that night, to kill a demigod, Marika's own son, Godwin the Golden.
That was the first recorded death of a demigod in all history, and it became the catalyst. Soon, the Elden Ring was smashed, and thus sprang forth the war known as the Shattering.
Now, there is a lot of really credible evidence that Marika was behind this plot to have a fragment of the Rune of Death stolen. There's also a ton of evidence that Marika is behind the entirety of your tarnished quest, but we'll talk about that in another video.
Marika double and triple dog reversed it, and this is not for sure. Maybe Marika orchestrated that whole plot for Ronnie to steal part of it and kill a demigod. And my dryer's done.
After the marriage of Marika and Radagon, and after a fragment of the Rune of Death was stolen, Marika went on to shatter the Elden Ring, and Radagon attempted to repair it, to no avail. The Elden Ring had been broken into runes, some great and some small.
So are Radagon and Marika kind of separate people? I really thought that they were entirely the same person, but she could like, boom, be Radagon, boom, be Marika. But it seems like maybe Radagon was her first experiment in kind of cloning herself. Separate people sharing the same body space. Oh, Batman versus Bruce Wayne. Oh, more like Jekyll and Hyde, though. They don't know what the other is doing, or they do know what the other is doing. Surely they would know what the other is doing because Marika created him to marry Renala. There's a certain statue of Radagon in Landell. If you do a certain incantation, it turns into Marika statue. Wait, that's cool. So kind of like the Hulk. Like, the Hulk and Bruce Banner are kind of the same, but when Bruce Banner goes into the Hulk, he kind of goes in the backpack a little bit. Like, he's not fully in control, but he kind of knows what's going on. This is a part of the lore that people are very unclear on, and there are many interpretations. Radagon could be sort of a Soros thing to Marika. Radagon is just some hot guy. Two gods in a trench coat. We will sell you this copy of Grand Theft Auto. You look like a responsible individual. Marika couldn't buy Grand Theft Auto. Oh, in the cutscene when we enter the Erdtree, you can see Marika shift into Radagon in real time. But is that Marika deciding to shift into Radagon, or is that Radagon coming out to protect Marika? I'm understanding why every single facet of the lore of this video game can now have an hour-long video.
Of course, the huge twist in Elden Ring is that Radagon is Marika. Or, depending on what you believe, he became her, for she knew it was going to happen.
In Marika's own words, O Radagon, leal hound of the Golden Order, thou art yet to become me. Thou art yet to become a god. Let us be shattered, both. Mine other self.
You can tell when From Software is keeping something a little bit open-ended, and of everything in Elden Ring's lore, this will also go on to be one of the biggest unknowns as we move forward. For example, the wording, thou art yet to become me, reinforces that Marika and Radagon were two separate entities before the Shattering. However, in contrast, there is also evidence that Radagon was always part of Marika. For example, Enya says that
The demigods are each and all the direct offspring of Queen Marika.
But how can this be if Radagon married Renala and had those demigod children? The only way that makes sense is if Radagon was always Marika and he just went over there to seduce Renala.
I do think that they are two separate entities. I like the Hulk and Bruce Banner analogy, that Radagon is still always in there and can come out and make choices, but they are... They take up the same space effectively. Like, they're like melded in there, but they are also independently in there. Does that make sense?
On this matter, the most important thing is, what do you think? While you can figure out a ton of Elden Ring's story, not all of it is open to interpretation. Certain things are, and this is one of them. And your interpretation is a big part of what makes this story special.
Okay, Vati. This is like at the end of the video game cutscene where they're like, and thank you, the player. Thank you. What do you think? What do you, the player, think? It's like, Vati, I don't know.
She was imprisoned in the Erd Tree for the crime of the Shattering.
Marika's trespass demanded a heavy sentence. But even in shackles, she remains a god and the vision's vessel.
Okay, so wait, why did Marika do the shattering? Why did she shatter it? Because she shatters it and then Radagon tries to fix it back because they're forever punished to be in the center of the Erd Tree, holding the Golden Order together. Why did she shatter it? Oh, probably because godhood is a prison. She's upset that Godwin died. But didn't she kind of orchestrate that? Maybe, hypothetically, maybe she was just over it. You ever like do all this shit to orchestrate and become a god and then you're just like, oh my god, it's too much. We gotta shatter the Erd Tree about this. So this is a story trailer for Elden Ring.
It happened an age ago. But when I recall, I see it true.
I love that Ronnie's the narrator.
On a night of wintry fog, the rune of death was stolen.
Was stolen. Bro, you stole that shit. Don't was stolen me.
And the demigods began to fall. Starting with Godwin the Golden.
Ronnie being like, oh, it was stolen and a demigod died. Who could have done this?
The shattering ensued, a war that wrought only darkness. The Elden Ring was broken. But by whom?
That is such a fire. That is so sick. But we know, okay, so we know Morgoth fought in the Shattering and lost. He also wanted to be the Elden Lord. But he couldn't because he wasn't worthy. He wasn't eligible to be an Empyrean.
What could the demigods ever hope to win by warring?
This is so sick. Goat on goat violence.
The conqueror of the stars, General Radahn.
So why did Radahn take away the stars? Peak moment back in the day, dude. When Alexander saw this shit, God, that's crazy. He was protecting the people of Celia from Estelle. That's how he knows the gravity magic. He studied at Celia and he got gravity magic. I see. So he wanted to protect them, so he took away the stars. He froze them in the sky with gravity. He's just holding that shit. Oh my god. Me when it's silent and I'm holding in a giant fart. That's probably what he felt like all the time. He just felt like he was holding in the world's biggest fart his whole life. Because he was literally holding the freaking stars. Also while being rotted. Yeah, he was crazy and rotten and eating corpses and still was holding the stars away in the sky. Radahn halting the stars put a dead halt to Miquella's plans. The tarnish kills him, freeing his soul from his body and allowing Miquella to place it into Mohg's body. Radahn is a required boss to enter the DLC because he has to be dead for his spirit to come back as promised consort Radahn to marry his brother and be in Mohg's body. Honestly, Radahn is also a really sad case. He's holding back the stars so that he doesn't have to do incest, and everyone's just trying to kill him, and he just wants his land to not be rotten and not be destroyed. He said, I don't want to do gay incest, and the entire world took that personally. He was the one literally starting wars. Okay, well, look, the god of war starts a few wars, and you're surprised?
And the blade of Miquella, Melania the Seventh.
God, she's so sick. She's so sick.
These two were the mightiest to remain, and locked horns
hones in combat.
Dude. This shit is so sick.
But there would be no victor.
That's crazy. That's crazy. He's like, he thought that he got her and she put a bomb on his back. This is when she turned Caelid into Ohio.
And so we inhabit a fractured world, awaiting the arrival of the Elden Lord. Unless, of course, thou shouldst take the crown.
She's so sick. Dude, Ronnie is so sick. And also that shit-eating look on her face as if she didn't, number one, steal part of the root of death and death, number two, orchestrate the murder of a demigod, and number three, plan to have an entire ending where you do all of her bidding to do her ending. So this is going to tell us all about the demigods, which we've already learned a little bit about, but I think this will help fill in all of the gaps.
The demigods are each and all the direct offspring of Queen Marika. There was Godwyn, Morgoth, Mohg, Radahn.
Dude, this was fire. The staff going down.
Rykard, Rani, Miquella, and Melania, Blade of Miquella. Melania, Blade of Miquella. Melania, Blade of Miquella. Godwyn the Golden was quite the heroic figure. He was born of the promising union between Lord Godfrey and Queen Marika, and he achieved great renown for his bravery in one of their wars, at least, the War of the Ancient Dragons.
Ancient Dragons.
This war began when Gransax, a great ancient dragon, rained calamity down upon...
That's the architecture dragon.
During this war, the Erdtree Sentinels had an epiphany that the only way to truly protect the Erdtree was to become dragons themselves. And so, despoiling the corpses of their foes, the grotesque Sentinels served the Erdtree, but fought with the claws of the enemy instead.
I never thought about that or even thought that there might be an explanation for why the draconic tree sentinel looked or was like that. I just thought they wanted him to look cool.
So, from an unlikely friendship, an ancient dragon cult was born in the capital city, and the Knights of Leyndell learned to worship the dragons and wield their lightning.
I'm surprised that the Elden Ring and the Greater Will was cool with this. Like, this does not seem like something that would be chill, but they're like, yeah, it's totally fine that they allied with the dragons.
Lanciax, sister of Fortisax, even took human form to better commune with the knights. It was officially decided that the worship of the ancient dragons did not conflict with belief in the Erdtree, and it was all thanks to Godwyn, commander of the dragons' golden lightning, and a true child of the golden lineage.
Okay.
But now, let's talk about Morgoth and Mohg,
I would love
the
to.
Omen twins, who were also born of Godfrey and Marika's golden lineage. First, what is an omen? Well, to put it simply, an omen is an accursed child, seen as impure, as they are born with horns on the body and face. When this happens, the correct thing to do, culturally at least, is to cut off the horns of the omen, an act which usually causes them to perish.
Wasn't it Eco that inspired Miyazaki way back when to do some of the lore in Dark Souls and some of the aesthetics in Dark Souls? Because that's literally what happens in Eco. The main character of Eco is exiled because he has horns on his head. I know everyone else also has a sad backstory, but this is also really sad that they're cutting their horns off to better fit in. And they have nightmares about it? That's fucked up.
Remember, it seems many omen have their horns excised when they're very young.
No.
That's definitely disturbing enough to warrant an emotion-killing physic in my book. However, if the omen is born of royalty, then their horns are not cut off, but the omen is kept underground, unbeknownst to anyone, and
they keep them underground? That's so fucked up. Yeah, when they're born, we freaking cut their horns off all over their bodies and we shove them in the Lanedale sewers. George R. R. Martin. This is probably Miyazaki. George R. R. Martin was probably like, and then there was some guys with horns. And maybe they did a little bit of incest. And then Miyazaki was like, and then the society cut their horns off and shoved them into a basement forever. And if you're born an omen, you're gonna die one. And you're gonna have nightmares about it.
But why are omen considered to be accursed in the first place?
Yeah.
If some of them are clearly intelligent, so what's inherently wrong with being
Bow
born with horns and
tarnished.
great strength? Well, it's
In
important
search
to
of
remember,
the
I think,
Elden
that
Ring.
this curse might only really exist in the context of the Golden Order. After all, those afflicted with omen horns are not able to return to the Erd Tree for rebirth and are said to be born outside of its grace.
That's why Morgoth was unfit, is because he was an omen and he was born outside of grace.
In any case, Mohg and Morgoth were omen royalty, and thus they were born into a wretched mire far below the earth, horns and all. Here, they were kept under the strictest confinement. Each of them were bound with charmed shackles that were covered in roots or thorns and bathed in golden magic.
I had never considered why no other boss had the shackles, but I'm understanding now. Because the omens, they were oppressing the omens.
Seems very few people were supposed to know that they even existed. Morgoth, for his part, renounced and despised his accursed omen blood.
Because he
but
wanted to
his brother
ascend.
Mohg embraced it. Deep underground, Mohg stood before an outer god, a being called the Formless Mother, who craves wounds, a being capable of bestowing power upon accursed blood. In this moment, Mohg's accursed blood erupted with fire, and he became besotted with the defilement that he was born into. Here, deep below the earth, he would go on to build a dynasty of blood in reverence of a mother, something it seems he never truly had. As for Morgoth, he was born into the same accursed fate as his twin brother, but despite not being blessed with grace, he loved the Erd Tree all the same, and even took it upon himself to crawl out of the sewers and become the Erd Tree's protector when the Erd Tree needed him most.
This is really, really cool. This is a very, like, classic kind of anime feeling story of two brothers. One who went against their born nature and was like, I don't care that I'm an omen. I'm going to try to be an Elden Lord. I'm going to try to fight for the Erd Tree. And then Mohg being like, I accept that I'm an outcast and I'm going to try to find power my own way and do it my way instead of the current regime's way. Mohg also has that shit on. He really does. Yeah, Morgoth unfortunately believes that maybe if he does enough, he can transcend his omen nature. But Mohg understands that they're never gonna accept me, so why would I ever crave that in the first place? Why don't I just go as far as I can in the darkness and find my own darkness path? That's really cool though. That makes Morgoth stepping in there really, really cool. And not just like randomly, oh, it's Margit again. The reason you fight Margit is because Morgoth knows that Godric is the weakest, and since he has a great rune, he's half of the entrance fee to Lanedale. So he has his Margit projection protecting the castle entrance. This is making Morgoth and Margit really cool to me. And Mohg as well.
Before long, Marika remarried with another man, a champion named Radagon, who Marika calls her other half.
In more ways than one.
Radahn was fond of its heroic
Dude, Radahn in this form just looks like a Nightkin from Fallout.
As a Carrion Royal, inclined towards sorcery, Radahn bent his will towards mastering gravitational magics. Rock sling, gravity well, collapsing stars. These techniques were taught to him in Celia, the town of sorcery, all so he would never have to abandon his beloved but scrawny steed. That said, before long, his powers would be put towards a more cosmic purpose than simply allowing him to ride his own horse.
What a cool dude. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna dabble in a little gravity magic just so I can ride my horse some more. And then he learns to hold the stars in the sky. What a guy.
According to a set of astrologer items, the night sky cradles fate. There's even a banished sect of people called the Nox, who live deep below the earth in eternal anticipation of the coming age of stars and their Lord of Night.
Okay. So they're the people of Nox that live in the Eternal City, also have a god, kind of maybe like the Greater Will, and they would come from the sky. So in order to prevent them from ever coming from the sky, he stopped all the sky activity. Radon is basically just playing ozone and keeping all meteors from ever hitting the lands between. Oh, Ronnie's ending is the Age of Stars that the Nox are waiting for. Okay. So Ronnie is kind of their god, sort of. Ronnie becomes the Lord of Night and brings it in. Radon is grounded every plane in the lands between. Radon shut down Spirit Airlines. So that's why the Greater Will does not fuck with the Nox. Because the Greater Will, they want to be the only gods in town. They don't want other gods. And holding all the stars in the sky prevents that, which is why Ronnie wants us to defeat Radon to free up the air defense strategy that the Greater Will have so that she can potentially ascend to godhood.
Lunar Princess Rani was the daughter of Radagon and Renala, and sister to Radon. Interestingly, if you look at her true body atop the Divine Tower, it looks like she might have also inherited the red hair of Radagon. Cool detail. But unlike her brother, Radon, she quite clearly took after her mother more, and at the time of her birth, she would have been set to inherit quite a lot of power indeed, for the Carrion royal family was at its height, and her mother was not only queen, she was also head of the Academy of Raya Lucaria, having bewitched them with the enchanting power of the full moon. Leading the young Rani by the hand, Renala guided her daughter to a meeting with a moon of her own. What Rani beheld was cold, dark, and veiled in occult mystery.
They're meeting with the moon gods and becoming queens. Also, Rani summons a giant in the second phase of Renala's boss fight. She also summons Bloodhound Knight and a dragon. So are they also chill with the dragons? Oh, the Bloodhound Knights are also wolf guys? They're half wolf? They're bound mercenaries for the Carrions. Renala's summons reflect Rani's vassals. Adola the Dragon, Iji the Giant, Bloodhound Knight Darawil, and Wolves for Blythe.
A dark moon, a sort of twin to Renala's own full
moon. A twin moon?
You can even see both of these hanging in the sky if you stargaze from the heights of the
R'Lana's twin moons?
Another who guided Rani was a character called the Snowy Crone, who the young Rani encountered deep in the woods. When you look at Rani, it's actually the likeness of this snow witch that you're seeing, as the doll that now houses Rani's soul was modeled after her.
Why did she go into the doll? What was that about? She had to shed her body to protect her soul, to become an Empyrean.
Rani's dark moon, for its part, also imparts wisdom and leads a voyage in the Age of Stars ending. They could even be outer...
But if you also think about it in terms of the cycle of the moon, Rani having a dark moon is like the phase of the moon that's the new moon. So it's like the beginning of a new cycle. And Renala's is the full moon, which is like it then begins waning after that. So Renala's moon wanes, and then Rani's moon is gonna wax, like her power in her era.
As Rykard delved into the ancient secrets of Mount Gelmir, he came across the immortal Great Serpent, an ancient deity.
He loved this freak.
With Rykard's ambitions. And so, Rykard fed himself to the Great Serpent so that he might devour,
classic,
grow, and live eternally. Alas, this was too much for his knights, and they believed that their master's heroic ambitions had degenerated into mere greed.
Dude, imagine you're in Rykard's army and you're like, yeah, I fucked with him. About time he let that snake swallow him up. Then I just couldn't be with it anymore. I had to quit, man. I had to go next door to Lanedale.
So they searched desperately for a weapon with which they might hold their lord, and they found it too. The immortal serpent had lived for a long time, and so there was also a weapon to kill it that had been designed long ago as well.
And also conveniently left right there for somebody to stumble upon it. Imagine being the immortal snake god and you just let the immortal snake god killing weapon chill in the room with you. That's kind of aura, actually. I'm circling back around. It's no longer dumb. It's kind of aura to be like, I don't even care. I'll just live forever in the room with the most dangerous weapon that could kill me.
Not that it bothered Rykard.
Now we can devour God together.
He loves it. Rykard loves it.
Next, we need to discuss Millennia and Miquella. These two were twins as they were born. No, Rykard. Anyway, as you know, Radagon's marriage with Renala did not last. Afterwards, he returned to the Golden Order and became Queen Marika's consort. But what I haven't yet mentioned is that together they were blessed with two demigod children, the so-called twin prodigies. Now, in the last lore video, I briefly proposed that these two twins were born after the Shattering, after Radagon and Marika had merged together to become a single god. However, I've since changed my mind. I think Millennia and Miquella were clearly born before the Shattering. There's just so much proof that these two twins were a force that were influencing the world long before the Shattering took place.
Okay.
Anyway, both of these twins were born afflicted. Specifically, in the Japanese text, it's said that their births were vulnerable. Miquella was born afflicted with eternal youth, and Millennia, for her part, was vulnerable to rot.
Right.
Interestingly, Millennia's scarlet rot is actually an outer god.
The god of rot, and that's why she becomes the goddess of rot in phase 2.
Interestingly, old legends of the scarlet rot have persisted in the world for generations, and we learn more about the rot god from the Blue Dancer charm. The dancer in blue represents a fairy who, in legend, bestowed a flowing sword upon a blind swordsman. Blade in hand, the swordsman sealed away an ancient god, a god that was rot itself. Specifically, this god was long ago sealed away in the stagnant water that is downstream of the Ainsel River underground.
The Lake of Rot.
And wherever rot appears, the kindred of rot appear as well.
Ew, not these
pests
freaks.
And servants of the rot. And now, in the current age, these are servants that have been forsaken by Millennia.
Fuck these guys.
Is their new
Fuck these little
goddess.
freaks.
So, this blind swordsman with the flowing curved sword actually went on to become Millennia's mentor. So, technically, it's him that we have to blame for this goddamn attack. The prosthesis wearer heirloom tells us more. A talisman engraved with a scene from
The inventor of the blender. This guy invented Miquella's
heroic
blender.
tale. Though born into the accursed rot, when the young girl encountered her mentor and his flowing blade, she gained wings of unparalleled strength. There's a lot of evidence that she's not really a willing vessel, but through sheer will and sense of self, she resists the rot, and only when she is truly pressed in battle will she abandon this will and bloom into the goddess within. Millennia's first bloom was during her fight against Radahn, and releasing her scarlet rot was a last-ditch effort that would forever taint the land of Caelid and cripple Radahn.
Okay, that's interesting. So Millennia's scarlet rot blooms and the scarlet rot blooms you find around are just her ult. She's getting pressed in battle and having to ult and release all the scarlet rot and becoming the scarlet rot goddess.
Whatever she was fighting for in this fight against Radahn, somehow it was worth this terrible act. In general terms, at least, it's clear that Millennia was fighting for her brother. Apart from the times where she relapses into being the goddess of rot, she is known as the Blade of Miquella. She actually goes to great lengths to tell you this. I don't know if you heard.
She's Millennia, Blade of Miquella.
In From Software
She has never known defeat.
She's actually fighting for his right to godhood, not her own. In Millennia's own words, her brother...
Millennia just wants you to be able to play the DLC. And what's so wrong with that? What's so wrong with playing that masterpiece of a DLC? Was Caelid any good before the Raw anyways? This is up for interpretation. What is Caelid without the rot? Think about it that way.
Miquella possesses the wisdom, the allure of a god. He is the most fearsome Empyrean of all. For his part, Miquella did a lot to earn his sister's dedication, not the least of which was inspiring her armor and a prosthetic of unalloyed gold. And it's not just his sister that loved Miquella, many people did. The Bewitching Branch is an item that you can use to turn enemies into temporary allies, and it reads, "Indeed, he has learned very well how to compel such affection."
So, In the same way that miquella can charm people, does anyone ever think that Radagon used the charm power to charm Renala, and that's why he inherited the charm power from Radagon and the ability to throw the crazy holy rings? No, he was just hot. Okay. Fair. These people making 13-hour Smotown lore deep dives when really the moral of the story is Radagon can get it. Some people need godlike powers. Some people are just hot and they show a little bit of butt crack, and that's all they need. No, I do think Renala actually did love him, but I just wondered because they were talking about Miquella's inherited powers from his father, if perchance Radagon might have used just a little bit of that charm.
Like many other Empyreans, miquella seems to have had the will within them to create a new order, and his is an order that's somewhat modeled on the ones that came before it. The biggest thing is that the Halig tree is clearly inspired by the Erd tree, but the difference is that miquella's Halig tree is said to be accepting of all, even those the Erd tree shuns.
I mean, here's the thing. You start your own tree, and all of a sudden people are like, he's copying the Erd tree, he's copying the Erd tree. Miquella can't have shit, can't have his own tree, and he gets called derivative. And just because it's a tree doesn't mean I'm copying or doing the Golden Order. This tree's gonna be different. Don't worry about it. The Halig tree is not going to fail.
But there is one more thing that I want to mention before I go. It's kind of one theory I had during the making of this video. So, Miquella and Millennia each have their own butterflies. Millennia's is the Aeonian butterfly, which inhabit the swamp of Aeonia and are rumored to come from the wings of the rot goddess herself. And I think it's fair to say that Miquella's butterfly is the nascent butterfly, which appears as if it's just emerged from its cocoon for its entire life.
Because he's a baby.
This is a reference to Miquella's eternal youth and his cocoon in the Halig tree. But there is, of course, a third butterfly, right? There's the smoldering butterfly. It's said to be an eternally burning butterfly that serves as kindling. Now bear with me, but it's my theory that this butterfly is a reference to Melina, who the Blade of Calling calls the kindling maiden,
because she burns at the
end. Walks
end.
alongside flame. This might suggest that Melina is a sibling to Millennia and Miquella.
I was gonna say, because I kind of, at first, when I was playing Elden Ring, thought that Melina might have been like a reincarnated version of Marika. This is, of course, before I knew that Marika was imprisoned in the Erd Tree. However, now it does seem like Melina is a separate demigod and perhaps is related to Millennia and Miquella. Oh, and Mesmer has his own butterfly in the DLC. So yeah, that further reinforces that Melina is probably a demigod of Marika.
Again, that's just a theory, but what I really want to talk about
A game
here is
theory.
that, at the very least, Melina is almost certainly the daughter of Marika. We learned this a long time ago from looking at her name in the game's files.
Name in the game files.
And we can further infer it from her dialogue.
Oh, what does it say? Internal game file name is Marika of Daughter. In Mesmer's lore, it says that just like his younger sister, he bore a vision of fire. So Melina is the youngest. Discard the fact that Miquella is eternally a child. I think Melina was born last. Yeah, I have one more video. This is a video about what happens in Shadow of the Erd Tree and puts all that stuff together.
I'm willing to bet that as soon as you entered this place, you knew that we were going to get some answers.
Yeah, this is one of the most beautiful areas in one of these games, dude.
Miquella made his heartfelt wish that Radahn would one day be his king consort. Now, this ending and the reappearance of Radahn has received a lot of early criticism, but I think this encounter does go a lot deeper than some people are giving it credit for. For example, we're hearing about Miquella's side of the vow.
Wait, people were mad that Radahn comes back? I think it's cool that he comes back in his prime form. A lot of people were mad that he was gay married. Well, he was also mad that he was gay married, to be fair.
But what about Radahn?
Yeah, what about him?
What was his part of the vow? What did he want? There is evidence of Radahn being kind, sure, but this is also a man who celebrates war. Did he truly share Miquella's vision for an age of compassion? And if he wanted to be with Miquella, why did he fight so vehemently against his death in the lands between?
Truth.
That would have brought his soul to the realm of shadow with Miquella. But the most chilling thing about this story, I think, is that even if Radahn did want to become Miquella's lord, and I can see that side of the argument too, to be fair, but even if he did want that, do Radahn's wants even matter in the face of Miquella the Kind? As we speculated long ago, from items like the Bewitching Branch, Miquella has the power of enchantment over others. He has the power to steal hearts. Literally, if you are embraced by him twice in the final fight, you're...
Not me. Not me, by the way. Not me. One thing about me is that I am absolutely garbage at dodging 99.9% of every single grab this entire gaming franchise has ever made. But this grab, not getting me. Not getting me.
heart is stolen, and it's like a part of you dies.
Well, not twice anyways. It got me a couple times.
Lord of the Old Order, let us go together.
This effect
Heart
can also
stolen?
be seen in Miquella's faithful band, who overcome their differences and
Wait,
shortcomings.
our D&D party! This is the D&D party! Who then later took me out back and beat the ever-loving hell out of me.
Right.
Lord of the Flies ass D&D party. Dude, it was. Soon as things started to change, they all turned on me, dude.
Once, in an attempt to free Lord
Incredible angle of Ansbach. Look at this angle. Look how studious my boy Ansbach looks. This is an appropriate angle worthy of my boy Ansbach.
I challenged tender Miquella, only to have my own heart rather artfully stolen. I knew not how weak I was. I believed that with sufficient mastery, even an Empyrean would be within reach of my blade.
Dang.
I could not have been more mistaken. Miquella the
Unless the Empyrean told him he was cute, and then he folded.
Kind is a monster, pure and radiant. He wields love to shrive clean the hearts of men. There is nothing more terrifying.
That is so cool. Man, Ansbach remains one of the best characters. He's saying, like, just because Miquella is, kind, or he's not using weapons to kill you doesn't make him any less of a monster. And that's sick. And that basically sums up Miquella.
In the specimen storehouse, you can
No,
find
not the
secret
specimen
right
storehouse.
scroll,
No,
which details
stop.
the secret
You
right
can't
by
make me
which
go back.
Miquella-
As if using Lord Moog to gain entrance to the land of shadow were not enough, he plans to use his corpse as the vessel of his king consort. He has forsaken Lord Moog's soul.
In your fight with Radahn, you might have noticed the horns sprouting from his gauntlets and his tendency to perform blood flame attacks.
He's got some Moog
This is
tendencies.
because Radahn occupies Moog's body, fulfilling the terms of the secret rite at the Gate of Divinity, where Miquella will become a god. So, in retrospect, Moog was under Miquella's spell all along and became obsessed with Miquella, believing that they would ascend together as Lord and God.
Little did he know, he was just getting used.
Moog was also used as a means for Miquella to enter the Realm of Shadow in the first place. A while back, I speculated that the Realm of Shadow was a sort of death dimension, and that Miquella's sacrilegious death at the hands of Moog might have been intentional so that Miquella could enter.
So Miquella let Moog kill him so that he could go to the Shadow Realm.
Incidentally, Radahn's return also answers one of the biggest mysteries of Elden Ring, which was what Melania whispered to Radahn as she let the rot flower blossom at the end
I didn't even catch that she whispered something.
of their fight. According to the young lion's helm, she whispered, "Miquella awaits thee, O promised consort."
Oh, dude. So she was trying to kill Radahn to get his soul so that Miquella could summon him in the Shadow Realm. That's why she went to Caelid. And that's why he was holding back the stars, because he did not want to gay marry his brother, which, of course. Why would you want to, you know what I mean?
Miquella has said as much himself. He wishes now to throw it all away. He says the act, though undoubtedly painful, will sear clean the Earth Three's wanton sin. The truth of his claim can be found at each cross, but is evidence enough to...
What is the first sin? What? I've just comprehended the greater will, and now they're entering more things.
Tree's sin that miquella died and was reborn for.
Yes, what was the Erd Tree sin?
Well, now we've talked about the end. This...
Oh, it was the horn scent. Oh, or was the first sin the horn scent killing Marika's people? And then that's why Marika then killed the horn scent. So miquella is the scholar of the second sin. Or Elden Ring really just is Dark Souls 2 too.
This dire place is called Bonnie Village, and a phantom at the whipping hut here elaborates on just who the shamans were, or rather, the value they had. He states, "For pity's sake, your place is in the jar. Nigh sainthood itself awaits you within. For shamans like you, this is your lot. Life were you accorded for this alone."
They stuffed the shamans into the jars! You make a saint this way. Alexander is a saint. Get in here, big dog. This is your part. Lock in.
So the shamans, in the words of their abusers at least, were accorded life for a singular purpose.
To be put in the meat jars.
So it is that the shamans stuffed into jars become this living amalgam of beings, presumably with the flayed shaman herself at the fore.
So this is crazy. Okay, so Marika's people were placenta man all along. Marika genocided the Hornson, but they low-key deserted it. Yeah, they were putting all her people in jars. But, you know, the cycle of revenge. You gotta stop the cycle of revenge. But I get it. If you're putting all my people in jars, like you know, it's not a good look.
Emir is the high priest of Manus Meta, a cathedral of the hand to the east. Once he instructed Relana herself in the sorceress arts.
Oh, wait, that's a cool detail. He was Rolana's teacher.
But eventually he would come to abandon this allegiance to the moon.
Relationship with the moon, done. We are now allied with the fingers.
Stating that the moon was merely the closest of the celestial bodies, and nothing more.
Okay. Kind of fire logic. He's like, you guys only like the moon because like you can see it and it's close. Which, I mean, here's the thing. For a lot of history, that probably was the case. People are probably just like, I can see that thing, and it's really big and really awesome looking, so it's probably God or something. I don't even know. This guy's just alternative. He has a freaking moon glazers. Fingers, however. Moon to mainstream. We gotta go for the fingers.
This is Meta herself, the mother of fingers. Her remembrance reads, "The mother of all two fingers and finger creepers was in turn a magnificently gleaming daughter of the greater will and the first shooting star to fall upon the lands between."
Oh, she was the first star.
So it was that this mother birthed the fingers, communing with and receiving signs.
So she landed, planted the fingers, Marika got instructions from the fingers, and then we got the Elden Beast, and then Estelle came in. And Radahn was like, no, 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 Estelle cannot come to Caelid. Please, Estelle, do not come to Caelid.
Marika and the fingers that guided her were unsound from the start. Well, the truth lies deeper still. It is their mother who is damaged and unhinged. The fingers are but unripe children, victims in their own right.
It's not clear when Meta was broken, abandoned, but I assume it was before Marika started taking the guidance of the fingers.
So that's why he has beef with Marika, is because they abandoned Metter and just went along taking the guidance of the fingers. But he's saying the guidance of the fingers isn't whole, because the fingers came after and are not the true mother, which is Metter. Oh, the Nox wounded Metter, because they were about the moon. When the fingers in the Round Table Hold convene with the Greater Will, they never stopped convening because the radio signals are broken. Whoa, so they're playing galactic telephone, but something has gone wrong in the signal and their Wi-Fi is broken. The Greater Will has just been sending those out of office like reply emails for a millennia. The line was cut long ago, so Marika was freestyling. Marika was freestyling. That's what Ymir is saying. So he's like, Marika's a phony. She's just freestyling. Metter isn't even connected to the Greater Will. So how can we be doing the Greater Will's will if we're not connected? And if the fingers aren't even getting messages and no one's telling her what to do, she's just freestyling.
Incidentally, Placidusax was also Elden Lord before Marika, and he was abandoned by his god as well, so maybe things became broken around that time.
The gods gotta fix their reception. Why is their contact getting cut all the time? They gotta get a better phone service. Dude, yeah, when you're the group member who knows the least about the project and it's your turn to present, is basically what they were all doing. And all your group members are low-key judging you because they're like, this guy didn't do anything for the project. This guy's just showing up, trying to present, trying to get a grade. Dude, what I'm learning is that she's that guy. She is John Elden Ring. This is all her. She's the puppet master.
All this while, the Fingers claimed to be envoys for the Greater Will, but that's a lie. The Greater Will is gone. The Fingers are alone, operating on outdated guidance. The Hornsent were purged, subjugated, and betrayed. The Realm of Shadow became this disconnected domain of death, and the Shadow Tree that looms high became the realm's symbol of abandonment, not grace. So, next, let's talk about Messmer, the Impaler. As anticipated, Messmer is entirely loyal to his mother, who is Queen Marika. His armor reveals that, on his mother's wishes, Messmer made himself a symbol of fear, undertaking the cleansing crusade she desired. And in the end, all those stripped of the grace of gold would perish.
In the embrace of Messmer's flame.
One phantom even raises the possibility that Messmer himself has been abandoned. And he has. The final straw for him is when you, a tarnished who would become Elden Lord, arrives at his doorstep.
Yeah, Marika just basically left for cigarettes and never ever returned, and just left them to enact her fury and her rage. Oh, this is an Iris of Grace? Wait, that's cool. So he's going full dark mode. He's crushing the Iris of Grace to go full dark mode. Oh, he's also missing the eye then, because he's enacting the will. He's sacrificing his agency, taking out his eye to enact Marika's will, even though he ain't seen her in about a million years. Oh, it's the opposite, actually. He's sacrificing his connection to Marika. Oh, because the Iris of Grace lets you see the light, and Grace is what Marika is using to guide the Tarnish. So he's breaking his connection to light and to grace to go beast mode? I don't know. Mesmer taking out his eyes to unseal the serpent in his body. I see. The Abyssal Serpent is another outer god?
So, I was wrong about this eye. It wasn't the slitted eye of Dragon Communion. Instead, it was Marika's seal of grace, holding back something terrible.
Wait, yeah, you can see it's Marika's seal. Wait, look, you can see the curve at the top. Computer enhanced. You can see there's the curve at the top. That it's Marika's seal. Wait, that's really cool.
Each cross of Miquella is a piece of himself, marked with his great rune. Arms, an eye, flesh. But there's a couple of crosses in particular that I remember as a part of what was an extremely chilling moment. As you progress along the coast towards the fissure, you notice that Miquella has divested himself of his doubt and vacillation. Without these things, he was free, it seems, to abandon something that was very dear to him. We realize that Miquella has actually divested himself of his love. A phantom says, "Kindly Miquella, I see you've thrown away something you should not have under any circumstances. How will you salvation offer to those who cannot be saved, when you could not even save your other self?"
Oh, so that's crazy. So that's saying basically that Miquella's offer of a voyage of compassion is basically hollow anyways because he doesn't have any compassion left.
His other self, his love, his fate was Saint Trina.
Saint Trina!
Actually, the fact that Saint Trina was able to be discarded might even suggest that Radagon could have become divested from Marika in a similar way. But Miquella's other half was truly special. So Saint Trina naturally had many followers.
Tiolier!
Perhaps at the fore was Tiolier, whose obsession with Saint Trina returns almost immediately when Miquella's enchantment finally breaks. Saint Trina is below, defended by a putrescent knight who
This guy's
basically
awesome.
tainted
Love
flesh
him and his horse.
once given
Crazy
eternal
duo.
rest that now serves Saint Trina. Die enough times to Saint Trina's nectar, and you will hear her words.
Miquella, stop. The caged divinity is beyond saving.
But not necessarily, because Marika got out of it, but then she got recaged. So it's tough. It's hard.
In the end, Marika's caged divinity is likely a part of why she shattered the Elden Ring.
Right. But then she got retrapped.
Miquella's divinity would surely come at a cost to him. He would essentially be sacrificed.
It would have cost him his hair extensions. That's all that remains. He's more extension than man. Yeah, he's abandoned his heart, he's abandoned his arms, he's abandoned his legs. All he is beautiful, luscious hair extensions.
But Miquella found one that would refuse to be embraced. You. No wonder, as one god and one king consort is all the world needs. And you're the chosen Elden Lord of a different age, whatever ending that may be for you. So, naturally, you would have refused to be embraced. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening.
The one who could resist his charms. Not even Radahn could resist in the end. Okay, so this is the story trailer for the DLC Shadow of the Erdtree. Here we go. Dude, what a classy little banner there.
Miquella the Kind spoke of the beginning. The seduction and the betrayal.
Dude, the song.
An affair from which gold arose.
Also, the fact that she's walking through all that, like, goo and blood, which is connected to her people literally all being turned into goo and blood and being shoved in jars, and then she's transcending above it all.
And so too was Shadow born. What followed was a war unseen. One that could never be put to song. A purge without grace or honor.
She got nasty revenge. Just nasty, evil, bad revenge.
The tyranny of Messmer's flame.
Real. Look at this freak. Incredible music. That was the pink bug lady? Wait, where? There. That's Ramana? But pre-bug Ramana in the middle of the flames. This is Ramana? How does she get with the bugs? The rot, probably. Oh, that's her holding her spear. It looks like her spear. Oh, it does. Saint of the Bud. It's a rot god artifact.
And so kindly Miquella would abandon everything. His golden flesh, his blinding strength, even his fate.
Dude! His song!
But we are not deterred. We choose to follow.
The D&D party! Okay, this rocks. Now I'm like, I wish the Elden Ring movie were animated, because this is so sick. will you walk with us? The D&D party. That's hype. And we got to see Saint Trina being cast away. That's crazy. See ya, girl. Basically, even his fate, that's such a cool line because he's abandoning what could have been and he's going down this road of dark godhood where he's only gonna end up imprisoned. Okay, so one thing that I was disappointed with in the DLC was the ending cutscene where it's just like a memory of Miquella and he's standing there and he's like, oh, I always wanted Radahn to be my consort. I feel like there wasn't like a solid kind of ending to the DLC, so this is gonna be cool. This was the new Miquella ending cutscene that was found in the files. It's DLC cut content that someone found.
No actual gameplay functionality exists within this map, which seems deliberate considering the file is noted as being for cutscene use.
It's the cutscene.
There also exist some number of unused lines of spoken dialogue. However, without the intermediate cutscene file to connect these together, it's difficult to know for sure which of these are intended for playback during this specific video. Either way, these voice lines are found in the following order.
Young seedling, grow larger, stronger. My dear twin, accept this gift, a gift of abundance, my last drop of dew. Let all things flourish, whether graceful or malign. If thou covetest the throne, impress my vision upon thine heart. In the new world of thy making, all things will flourish, whether graceful or malign.
That was a beautiful cutscene. It's not Code Red Mountain Dew. Miquella's blood, man, come on. He gave his blood for this, and you're calling it Mountain Dew?
Having been seen here in a somewhat incomplete state, this concept did not make its way into the final version of Elden Ring. But it is somewhat interesting to see how the various ideas that were floated during the game's development were experimented upon before being set aside.
Dude, don't remove Miquella's lighting like that. That's embarrassing. They just took his shaders away. That's embarrassing. Bro can't be seen without his shaders. Okay, I have one more thing. This is what happens to you if you get grabbed twice by Miquella. A 1,000-year voyage,
guided by compassion.
but a compassion devoid of love, we've learned.
Lord of the old order, let us go together.
Anne's back in this is like, what are you doing, bro? Wait, what are you doing? Why are you getting down on one knee? If the NPCs get grabbed, they turn on you? Dude, no. Anne's back is like, don't look at his hair extensions. He'll sway you to his side with his beautiful, luxurious hair.